Live camera view right now. This is from Centerville, looking to the south there on First Alert, our First Alert Sky Vision, and the temperature's at 85 degrees, variable wind, and those storms are tracking to the north direction at this time. So we are tracking those. Let's go back to the radar view here, and just to show you, we'll go in for a closer look here. Some of these storms south of Shelby County, around Mineral Springs, and over towards the Clanton area, and also here around Greensboro, Marion, Heiberg, moving to the north towards Brent, Centerville, and the Duncanville area. So if you're in South Tuscaloosa County, Northern Hale, Bibb County, you could have some impacts there over the next 60 minutes as these storms move north. And anywhere from Columbiana, Alabaster area, back into Shelby County Airport, Montevallo as well, giving you that first alert. Wilsonville, I think we could be impacted as some of this moves north over the next 60 minutes. But that's where most of the rain's happening in our area right now. There's actually a storm that's over Sumter County, but look at all this back into Mississippi, around Philadelphia, Forest County, Mississippi. Some of this, although a lot of these complexes of storms past couple of days have been oriented more towards the south and west of us, these storms over Mississippi are taking on more of a eastward component, so I do think some of this could reach us across west Alabama. But let's go into Sumter County right now. Another storm, some intense lightning here. This is around Livingston and York, and this is drifting to the north. So if you're around Bologee, Gainesville areas, this could impact you. There's Amel, so all those areas like Boyd there in Sumter County right now, some heavy rain as that moves on to the north. But for most of the day, we've had some breaks, not seeing a lot around Birmingham, but you can kind of tell all this stormy weather to the south, it's marching north. So some of this will eventually move into the Birmingham area, Tuscaloosa. That's why we bumped up those rain chances tonight. I think it's likely we're going to see quite the coverage of scattered thunderstorms. And again, with all this wet weather moving in from the west, and I think tomorrow night, tomorrow evening, we'll also see another good chance for some scattered storm activity out there, and then we'll start to see those rain chances back off as we go into the mid part of the week. So there again, we're taking a live look at the camera from Centerville, but look at the temperatures here. I wanted to bring this in. These are the feels like temperatures. 97 in Utah, 90 in Birmingham, 90 in Anniston, 93 in Tuscaloosa, and that's a current heat index. So it's hot, it's steamy, certainly hot enough to support some of that storm development out there for this evening, and some of those could be strong to severe, so do stay alert. Make sure you check the First Alert weather app as we monitor for that possibility for tonight. And even though we are tracking storms, the heat is here to stay. New numbers are showing that the cost to stay cool this summer is going to jump by around 8%. Our Bria Chapman's on your side with different resources to help you out as we continue to monitor the heat that is about to roll in.
As far as LIHEAP, there's two seasons. There's a cooling season and a heating season. We literally just opened up our heating season, so it's wide open.
Government studies show LIHEAP, the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, typically pays out most of its benefits in colder months, but organizations like Community Action say assistance is available now for summer.
I would always suggest that anybody who needs assistance, they call, because LIHEAP is not the only program that we have. We may be able to help based off the funding available.
And recently, community action agencies across the state received more than $5 million from Governor Ivey's office to get homes weatherized to lower utility bills.
A lot of times energy bills heighten because of leaks in the home. So what weatherization does is to make the home more energy efficient and bring the energy bill down. So if a applicant was accepted or that applicant home was selected, that applicant would be subject to a home assessment.
For Jefferson County, Bertram Young with the Department of Community Resources says there's an ongoing program to help pay your utility bills.
It's called ERAP, Emergency Rental Assistance Program. It's a program for Jefferson County renters that have been negatively impacted by COVID-19, and they have fallen behind on their rent or their utility bills. And so we partnered with Salvation Army and Bridge Ministries to help kind of manage the program.
And this program is federally funded, and Young says once the money runs out, it's gone for good, which is why he keeps recommending that people apply now. It'll take about 2 weeks to find out if you've been approved.
And Wes, this is also a good time to talk about how certain medications can make a person more vulnerable when it's hot outside. But to help prevent heat-related illnesses, you can protect yourself against extreme heat by wearing loose-fitting clothing and staying hydrated. Dr. Kevin Watkins with the Cleveland Clinic says that medications such as blood pressure medicine, decongestants, and antibiotics can cause heat intolerance. And with heat also having the ability to degrade medication, he says it's best to store medication properly.
In a place that is, away from sunlight, that is cool, in a bathroom, ideally in a closed area.
And if you're at higher risk for heat-related issues, talk to your doctor and seek medical help right away. And in Mobile, the National Weather Service confirming an EF1 tornado impacted the city of Fairhope after rounds of severe weather this weekend. Sadly, it caused the death of a local fisherman after the storm caused his boat to capsize. Another fisherman is currently recovering in the hospital. The storm also left damage across the area with downed power lines, debris in the roadways, and homes damaged by fallen trees. According to the National Weather Service, they believe the tornado may have started as a waterspout in Mobile Bay near the Fairhope Pier, eventually making its way along Fairhope Park Road. They say the tornado appears to have lifted near the intersection of Oak Avenue and North Church Street.
It was really scary. Popping, trees falling down. This is an old building here and it's sort of fortified and it has survived many a hurricane, so we weren't scared or anything, but just lights went out, no cell service or anything, so it was a unique experience.
The peak winds were 93 miles per hour. The 150-yard wide tornado stayed on the ground for about 2 minutes. And in Oklahoma, roadways looked like rivers in parts of Oklahoma after overnight storms caused extreme flooding. Fire crews say several water rescues were performed and some vehicles had to be stranded. The southern parts of the city was hit hardest, but flooding was also reported in Norman, Moore, and Dell City. Some residents say the floodwaters were at least 3 feet high and cleanup crews have began, but there was certain concerns that additional rain today could cause more problems. That is crazy. Look at all that rain there. In 30 seconds, we're actually going to check a quick check on our radar about where those showers and storms are at across central Alabama, plus bring you an update from the tropics. We'll be right back. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Tania Michelle with an update and a quick check on our radar. Look at this. We've got storms popping off. Matter of fact, in south central Alabama, this is south of Interstate 20. Frequent lightning impacting parts of Sumter County. This is on along I-20 near the city of Millville. This is moving further north, heading towards Parker and Epps. And even further to the east, some heavy rainfall and storms impacting parts of Chilton County. This is also moving north, so you can expect some heavy rainfall in Calera very, very soon. This is moving north and slightly to the east over the next hour or so, and we're going to expect more scattered showers and storms throughout the evening. Chief Meteorologist Wes White will have a full look at that 7-day forecast where we can actually see some drier weather and relief from that humidity later in the work week. In weather, not every 6, but coming up in just a couple of minutes.
That's right, Tania. We'll be tracking that for you here coming up in a few moments. But right now, we're talking about what's happening in the tropics. Could we see some development over the next 7 days? Let's get an update on what's happening right now with meteorologist Matt Daniel.
Of course, June 1st is the start of the hurricane season in the Atlantic, and you can see the activity really peaks as we go into late August into September. September 10th is technically the peak of the hurricane season, and usually June, July can be pretty quiet. We may see 1 or 2 named storms, but where do we typically see tropical systems form in June? Well, pretty close to home is where we see them normally develop. So we usually watch the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico for the potential to see tropical development for the first 30 days of the hurricane season. Now, as we take a look at some of those tracks and paths, the formation in June is more likely, like I said, in the eastern Gulf of Mexico based off climatology. And there's two areas we watch. Point A, sometimes you'll see storms form in the western Gulf of Mexico. They'll impact either Mexico or make their way into Texas. And the other area that we watch is maybe in the northern Caribbean, the eastern Atlantic, and they kind of get picked up by maybe cold fronts and slide right along the east coast. So those are the two areas that are favorable for this month. So what are we looking at for the next 2 or 3 weeks? Well, one thing to note, sea surface temperatures are extremely warm. You need 80-degree temperatures or warmer for tropical development. We've got that. In fact, the Caribbean is unusually warm, record-breaking heat. We're seeing some of those sea surface temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. So if anything can form and the environment is favorable, could definitely see something develop into a tropical depression or storm. The good news, tropical update from the Hurricane Center still showing the tropics were expected to remain quiet for the next several days. You might be looking at that and thinking, what is that? Well, it might be a little area of low pressure, but there's a lot of wind shear involved, so they're not expecting that to develop. But one thing I am looking ahead is that some of our models are hinting at increasing moisture in parts of the Western Caribbean. So I've highlighted in yellow an area to watch when it comes to tropical development. And this is going to be between June 9th and the 13th. So maybe going into this weekend and going into early next week, there could be an area of low pressure or increasing moisture that could try to form. So I'm going to show you one model, and this is just one model. A lot of the different models will show different solutions. It will likely be weak, but we're going to be watching this particular area for increasing moisture. And notice as we go into the weekend, notice maybe an area of low pressure trying to form. If anything, just a lot of tropical moisture impacting Cuba. And we'll see if it slides up to the north and east. There is a cold front moving through, and that might pick up whatever develops and spread it out into the Atlantic. So something to watch maybe for the weekend. Early next week could see a tropical low or some area low pressure forming and then moving away from the United States. But besides that, looking pretty quiet. So we've got plans for the Alabama Gulf Coast this weekend. I wouldn't worry too much about this, but something to watch over the next several days.
And something to watch right now, storms approaching West Alabama, some of those severe. I'll be back to track this for you and show you those rain changes for the remainder of this evening right here on Weather Extra. Stay with us. Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Was just looking at our camera here from Brookwood Baptist Medical Center. You can see the tops of some of those towering storms, even over Shades Mountain. As storms back to the south, we're seeing heights with those storms going up over 20,000 feet. So we do have quite the view. You see those puffy clouds, and actually you can see right here in Montevallo, it's rainy, it's windy, those storms moving in. The temperature at last check was 87. So this will bring that temperature down. As what happens, you get really hot out there and the bubble just pops, and then you have these storms that develop. But the wind that showed calm, but it's not calm at the moment. 85 right now at Centerville. Let's see if we get the feedback. We had a storm that moved in, and that may be why we lost the feed there. We had some gusty winds and a storm. Well, there you go. You can see that rain there moving to the north and mostly cloudy sky. And here it comes in Oak Grove. Looks like some clouds and a couple of areas there we have some showers to the south, building to the north. So our friends here around Talladega County tracking that wet weather, but a lot going on to the south at the moment. But I do think through 10, 11 o'clock tonight, this development is going to build further north. So a good chance that we'll see more of these scattered thunder showers through late this evening. But at the moment, some of that rain moving in. Mentioned Centerville, but the storm with more of the lightnings happening over in Hale County from Lake Payne back to Moundville and Havana Junction. That's going to be moving north towards Tuscaloosa, the Taylorville, Big Sandy area, Duncanville. So giving you that first alert out here around Hargrove Road and Coaling. That's moving in your direction. Centerville, some of this rain may hold together, reach us around West Blockton. And then we have a storm really flaring up right now, folks, around Lay Lake. We need to be off the water and certainly indoors. Some intense lightning around Shelby. That's tracking north towards 4 Mile and Columbiana here in Shelby County, moving to the north. So Chelsea over towards places like Alabaster, Helena, Pelham, giving you the first alert. All this lifting to the north, and some of this could end up reaching us around McCalla and around the Bessemer area, and then tracking a storm near Boyd and Livingston there in Sumter County. Quite a bit of lightning with that moving off to the north. So a lot of development to the south, scattered storms. This is moving north. We have storms back over Mississippi that are moving to the east, so a lot of this is going to converge across our area tonight. That's why we bumped up those rain chances for this evening. And the model data showing that the wet weather could still be going in some areas as late as midnight, and after that we'll see the showers dissipate. Mostly just a few showers out the door tomorrow morning. Rest of the day, I still see some breaks out there. It's going to get really hot, really humid again, and then by the evening we need to watch it for another good chance. See this by late tomorrow night, that increase in showers and storms. But we do have a cold front on the way. That's going to be moving in, and by Thursday morning the rain chances taper off north to south, and then dry weather takes over by late Thursday and into the day on Friday, and it's going to feel less humid as we go into the weekend. So a nice start to the weekend. A few scattered storms will come back by Sunday and especially early next week. But it was perfect earlier for a weather visit, and I want to give a big shout out to the summer camp at Appalachian School in Blount County. That's right there on Straight Mountain. Of course, you see us show the camera all the time from the school, but our good friend Curtis Atkinson invited us out today, and they were talking about meteorology and science, and they were actually working on some anemometers. You know, the device used to measure wind speed, some homemade anemometers, some cool stuff, a lot of fun. Hopefully we can have Curtis join us here on Weather Extra to talk about some of the activities that they're doing there at the school. But just first graders, second, third graders, kindergartners, they were all out there and excited, and had some volunteers today as we sang some of the weather songs today. But had a lot of fun there today. But I just wanted to note, we were talking about the 7-day forecast, and we've got the less humid air coming in as we go into the weekend. But this time of the year, it doesn't last long. It's going to start to feel sticky again by early next week.
Yeah, Wes, listen, we may have these patterns where it feels a little less humid because a front may come through, but it's going to pop right back into place and back into gear because, of course, as we head into the summer months, you know where we're at. We're in the southeast, and that moisture from the Gulf just starts to build in for our area. So we have more humid days ahead of us, and today was certainly one of them. Yes, we're tracking the showers and storms, but I want to take you beyond the 7-day, 6 to 10 days out from now. This is June 10th through the 14th. It looks like the West Coast and our western states across the U.S. are going to see above average temperatures, but we could be seeing more below average, if not near average, across central Alabama. Now, down in Florida, southern parts of Georgia and the coast, going to see possibilities of above average temperatures. But for us, we might be a little bit cooler as we bring in June 10th through the 14th. And looking at our outlook 6 to 10 days out now for our rainfall chances, December 10th June 10th through June 14th, guys, can't talk. Below average for our northern U.S. states. Around Denver, Colorado area could be seeing above average. We could be seeing more near average rainfall with more above average down at the coast. But hey, listen, it is gonna start kicking. We'll see more of those afternoon showers and storms as we approach those summer months, that regular and typical summer-like weather. But just as meteorologist Matt Daniel mentioned, with a potential for a low forming in the Caribbean, hurricane season is here. But major cities like New Orleans are already preparing for those future storms. Fox's Bowen Kendrovich reports on this.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is predicting a busy hurricane season for the Atlantic. The floodgate behind me was constructed after Hurricane Katrina, and officials tell me that they think it is ready to take on any storm that comes out of the Gulf.
It doesn't matter if it's a busy season or if it's a slow season. If we get a hurricane that's bearing down on New Orleans, we have to be ready.
This floodgate is just one of many that can help keep New Orleans from going underwater. It protects hundreds of thousands of people and their homes.
Anybody that's ever been to New Orleans knows that every drop of rainfall has to be mechanically removed. And so all that rainfall that goes into the neighborhoods is discharged into this basin.
To prepare for the hurricane season, the facility tests the pumps every 2 weeks and also closing the gates to block the river.
The purpose of this structure is twofold. It prevents the storm surge from intruding into the populated portions by closing that gate, and it removes the water inside the basin, maintaining the safe water elevation so that we can properly assess the levees.
New Orleans is also creating a new public safety warehouse to store disaster equipment. The city's director of Homeland Security says this will speed up response times.
We have a presence there where we can get the resources we need out to the public as soon as possible. It also will store generators, light towers, command vehicles, a lot of the different things that currently we keep in different locations around the city. This will all be in one location.
Arnold says the new warehouse will be fully operational sometime this month. In Belle Chase, Louisiana, Bowen Kendrovich, Fox News.
And don't you go anywhere. We have a final check on our weather, our radar, as we take a look at where those storms are impacting areas across central Alabama. Plus, we'll take a look at some of your photos that you sent in to the WBRC First Alert weather app. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll be right back.